Coming up on Top Shelf Sports, we recap senior nights for the Huskies. NAU wrestlers Shawn Scott and Trace ENGELKES join us in studio, and we preview the weekend on the Diamond. Top Shelf Sports starts right now. Welcome to another episode of Top Shelf Sports. I'm Emmett Kane.
And I'm Ricardo Segura. It's championship week for basketball, and NAU wrestlers qualify for the NCAA tournament.
We begin with the women's basketball team as they celebrate the three careers of Allie Lehman, Cassidy Glenn, and Amber Gray. The Toledo Rockets were in DeKalb looking to spoil senior night. Early turnovers by the Rockets and sharp passing from the Huskies helped them open an early lead. Hustle plays early were a big key for NIU. Senior Cassidy Glenn cleans up this miss and puts it back to extend their lead. Senior Allie Lehman drives from the three-point line and into the hoop, giving the Huskies a 34-21 lead. Toledo would get hot to end the half, with the senior hitting a three to bring the Rockets within 4. Toledo takes their first lead on this free throw, but Allie Lehman takes the ball down the court and takes the lead right back for the Huskies. Lehman had 31 points, 16 rebounds, and 9 assists. Toledo would take over from this point. Freshman guard Muriella Santucci gets this and one to extend their lead 67-61. Monokana hits yet another three, ending the night with 27 points and 17 rebounds. Lehman hits a last-second buzzer beater, but it was not enough as Toledo tops the Huskies 79-75.
The NIU men's basketball team held their senior night last Tuesday. The Huskies faced off against the Western Michigan Broncos on February 28th. Sophomore Levi Bradley began the game with a hard drive following a towering dunk. Jalen Key added 8 points, while senior Marin Marriage totaled 18. The dish from senior Eric Armstead for the wide-open three from Dontel Highsmith helped the Huskies out into the lead. Dontel Highsmith with the tough left-handed finish around the Broncos defender. Highsmith finished the game with 11 points and 2 assists. The steal from Eric Armstead turns into a breakaway dunk for the Huskies. Armstead's beautiful bounce pass to the big man Levi Bradley would lead to one of his 3 assists on the night. Western Michigan would prove too much for the Huskies on senior night. Thomas Wilder had a night for the Broncos. After this difficult layup, Wilder then blocks Huskies guard Justin Thomas, leading to the fast break score at the other end. Reggie Jones caps off with a 3-ball from the corner. Western Michigan wins the game 70-56. The NIU basketball team season came to an end on Monday after losing to the Eastern Michigan Eagles in the first round of the MAC tournament. Freshman guard Eugene German's 3-point attempt was blocked at the buzzer, giving Eastern Michigan the 72-69 win. The Huskies were led by senior center Marin Marriage, who was 1 point shy of a career high with 24 points, while grabbing a career high 16 rebounds. NAU ends the season with a 15-17 overall record and a 7-11 record in the MAC.
We now bring in our basketball analyst Tom Burton to recap and talk about the MAC tournament. So Tom, what do you think about the men's season overall?
Well, it was a disappointment, I think, and I think that game on Monday just further exemplified the fact that, they were really not playing well with each other towards the end of the season. They were never really able to generate momentum and just couldn't really find lineups that worked, and it showed in the end.
So with the disappointment and struggles, what does this mean for Mark Montgomery?
Well, an underperforming season like this one, some blame always gets placed on the coach. That's how it works in sports. So, you never know. Montgomery's done some great things for the program, but, with losing seasons and players not performing at the level they're capable of, it's always the coach, usually. So, we'll see what it holds for Montgomery.
So, kind of moving on to women's basketball, we were informed that the number 8 seed Western Michigan just beat number 1 seed Central Michigan, who beat the Huskies both times during the season. How does this increase the Huskies' chances at winning the tournament?
Well, it very much increases their chances, and it increases everybody's chances because, when the top seed is eliminated, it, opens up the door for someone else to step in and surprise. If they play like they were in the beginning of the season and kind of turn things around here, you never know. They might have a chance.
And who do you think needs to step up in the tournament other than Allie Lehman?
Well, I think they need bench production. They need that solid 6th man to come in, whether it's Cassidy Glenn, who they've been bringing off the bench lately, or Janae Poison. Just someone who can come in and score, give the starters a little bit of a break, and they need to make sure they're knocking down their 3-pointers, especially Courtney and Michaela. That'll help them out.
All right, then. Thank you so
All right,
much.
well, thanks for being with us, Tom.
Every budget, so don't accept defeat.
Now you can get covered and still buy me treats.
You take care of your pets. Now it's their turn to take care of you. Visit getcoveredamerica.org.
I got a chance to speak with wrestler Shawn Scott about this season as a whole, as he talked about his 100th win as a Husky in this edition of Leader of the Pack.
I'm Shawn Scott, and this is the Leader of the Pack.
NIU senior wrestler Shawn Scott began his journey on the mat at 6 years old. Inspired by his father's work ethic, Scott noticed his potential as a wrestler and dedicated himself to the sport entirely. Over the years, wrestling taught Shawn how to maintain structure and discipline, two key components that would help guide him throughout his life.
When I first started wrestling, I was natural at it, and I was competing nationally. So when he saw that talent in me, he kind of actually took me aside and said, all right, we might do this seriously. We might, travel across the nation and wrestle.
Scott went on to become an All-American state champion during his senior year of high school. And because of his success on the mat, he was given a scholarship opportunity to be a part of the NIU wrestling family.
Ryan Ludwig gave me the opportunity to get a scholarship to wrestle, and DeKalb was just like Holly, where I'm from, small town, cornfields, so it was a perfect fit for me.
Scott achieved several milestones throughout his 5-year tenure as a Husky, becoming a 3-time NCAA championship qualifier and holding the record for third most wins in school history with 103.
I never thought I could reach 100 wins in D1 wrestling, because that's kind of almost unheard of for most people. They don't even get 100 matches. I've had over 100 matches. I think it would be 140 something matches.
Upon graduation, Shawn plans to pursue a possible career in law enforcement. He selected this career path based on the structured lifestyle law enforcement has to offer.
I'm not a very vocal guy. I'm a very lead by example. Usually the hardest worker in the room that's presenting the hard work does pay off is going to be a leader in the room.
Although his time on the mat is winding down, Scott's journey is far from over, as he will represent NIU in the upcoming NCAA championship tournament for the 3rd consecutive year. Shawn's disciplined mentality and competitive drive leaves him as this week's Leader of the Pack. We are excited to have Shawn Scott here in the studio along with ENGELKES to talk about the wrestling season.
Guys, thanks for joining us. So we'll just go right into it. How has your senior season compared to other seasons?
Other seasons, you really have this sense of time where, you've got these goals, but it seems like you have forever to achieve them. But when you're in your senior year, especially when there's still some of those goals you haven't gotten yet, it really puts you in this sense of urgency, like the wick's burning underneath you, and the farther that, or the closer that wick gets to you, it just gets a little more hotter, a little more fired up. You get a little more motivation to get the job done.
Shawn?
I think it's just more of a calmness for me. I've been on the big stage before. I've accomplished a couple things through my seasons before, and now I'm just kind of having fun with it, enjoying the season with my teammates, my family, and a couple of my old coaches back at home that are supporting me. And I just think it's a calm feeling, and I have goals too, but I'm just kind of keeping those in the back of my mind as I'm working through this season.
So Shawn, what's your mentality going into the tournament?
Again, it's another calm feeling. I've been in the stage 2 times now, and the first time wasn't all that great. I was very nervous, and the second time I came up 1 match short. So basically, I'm just kind of focusing on the 1 match at a time, and just keeping that calmness through the whole tournament. And some people can get very overwhelmed with the atmosphere there. It's a very big stage with a lot of eyes on you, and I kind of want to get away from that and make sure I focus on just me and focus on the match at hand. So,
Trace, how you feeling?
Nothing really changes for me. I've been on, several big stages before, not this exact one, but, like I said, nothing changes. It's all got to stay the same for me. Otherwise, I'll get into my own head and things will have issues. So I just focus on my priorities and what I'm trying to do. And I'm not even bashful about it. I want to go and put people on their heads. That's it. That's it for me. If I can go out and try and do that, and I'm gonna be just fine.
All right, so NIU is sending 5 wrestlers to the NCAA tournament. That's the most in 32 years. So what does it mean to be a part of that history to you guys?
For me, it's more of a, I'm glad that we have 5 going now. My first year I went, I was the only one. Then the next year was 4, and now it's 5. So now I get to share this experience with 4 other guys and 2 other seniors that have been with me this whole time. So it's kind of a really good feelings, you know, have those guys behind me and I'm behind them, and just to experience not only the tournament but St. Louis and the experiences outside of the wrestling that we'll have together. That's going to be very nice.
Yeah, you know, you go to war for so long with a group of guys, and then you finally get to, you know, the pinnacle of folk style wrestling in America. You know, it doesn't get much bigger than this, and be there with my teammates is huge. Especially Shawn and Shawn Quay, being seniors, we've been together for so long and just been doing battle together that, you know, you really grow a bond with each other, and that's kind of what you expect out of one another, to show up and, you know, give it your all. And if that's whatever happens, you know, if that's what you did, you went out and gave it your all, then who cares? But it's nice to be there with my teammates.
So I know you competed at Madison Square Garden. Can you tell me a little bit about that situation?
Madison Square Garden was very cool experience. I mean, it's one of the most historical places to even have a competition in. And for me to be able to wrestle there and actually have my family come to New York for the first time was really cool. I don't like New York all that well, too many people and just too many things going on outside the Madison Square Garden place, but the experiences I had with my coaches and former teammates and other teammates, it was really cool. I think everyone should definitely go to New York and try to get into Madison Square Garden at one point in their life, just because it's pretty historical there and it's really nice.
Did you like it better than Holly?
Oh yeah, just for the fact that there's more to do. Holly is a very small town, so there's not really much to do there.
All right, Shawn and Trace, thank you. I want to thank you both for being here. The NCAA Championship will take place in St. Louis on March 16th through the 18th.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And when Top Shelf Sports returns, we go to the Diamond to recap both NIU baseball and softball. Also, the NIU football schedule is out. We take a look at the next big games coming our way next fall.
Practice makes perfect.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who don't need perfection.
The 2017 NIU football schedule has been released. NIU will have 6 home games this season. Spotlight teams visiting NIU will be Boston College, Kent State, and Ball State. Non-conference away games this year will be against Nebraska and San Diego State.
The softball team went 2-3 this past weekend at the SIU tournament in Carbondale. NIU's last game against the SIU Salukis finished with an impressive 9-3 victory. The NIU softball team heads to Murray State University this weekend to participate in the Murray State tournament. The 8-6 Huskies will take on St. Louis University, Austin Peay State University, and host Murray State University, looking to improve their non-conference record.
NIU's baseball team went up against the Iowa Hawkeyes yesterday in a season-high 8-run game. NIU had some new faces on the diamond playing with impressive results. Freshman Blake Walker pitched 3.2 shutout innings and struck out 5. Freshman pitcher Jacob Dunham started NIU scoring with a single into center field with 2 RBIs. The Huskies fall short with a disappointing 8-12 loss. Baseball looks to come back from the tough loss and end their 5-game losing streak this weekend. The Huskies will hit the road for a 3-game series against St. Louis University in St. Louis.
In alpine skiing, the women test out the 2018 Olympic venue and the men's race in foggy Slovenia.
Brandon Morocco has more on the story as we send it to the lodge.
Thanks, guys. Today, we're going to talk about ski racing. So this is an important time in the world of alpine skiing. We are less than a year away from the Olympics, and the World Cup finals in Aspen are just right around the corner. So let's dive right into the events that took place last weekend. On the women's side, we traveled to Gyeongsang, South Korea, for the Olympic test event on the course that will be used in the Olympics next year. In the downhill, Sofia Goja took home her first ever World Cup win. Goja has 9 podiums this year, the second most of any woman, but no victories. The podium was rounded out by American Lindsey Vonn and the downhill title points leader Ilka Stuick. With the win, Goja keeps her downhill title hopes alive as they travel to Aspen for the World Cup Finals in 2 weeks. Then on Sunday in Super G, it was more of the same as Goja seemed to take confidence from her first victory and turn that into her first Super G victory. The podium remained the same with Vaughn in second and Stewart in third. After crossing the finish line, Vaughn jokingly pointed to the camera and to Goja and screamed, "You!" Then on the men's side, it was all about Marcel Hirscher in Kranjska Gora, Slovenia. Hirscher won the giant slalom race on Saturday and clinched the overall title for a record 6th time in a row. With the win, he also clinched the giant slalom title. The podium was rounded out by Leif Christian Haugen and Mats Olsen. On Sunday in slalom, Henrik Kristoffersen made a costly mistake when he almost crashed out of the course. The error was big enough to cost him a second run. This opened the door for Marcel Hirscher to also clinch the slalom title. All he had to do was finish 5th or better, and Hirscher finished 4th. So he secured the overall title, the slalom title, and the giant slalom title in 1 year for the 2nd time in his career. The event was won by first-time World Cup winner Michael Matt. The podium was rounded out by Stefano Gross and Felix Norreiter. Now we turn our attention to what is to come. This weekend, the World Cup returns to the United States of America as we see American phenom Michaela Shiffrin in action in giant slalom and slalom at Squaw Valley. Shiffrin is poised to win her first ever World Cup overall title this season. After Squaw Valley, the men and women head to Aspen for the World Cup Finals, where the women's overall title and many discipline season titles will be handed out. And that's all I got for today. When we come back, we'll send it to the Sports Hub to talk spring training and a possible new QB for the Bears.
Adopted, I've learned a lot about these humans.
I know. I mean, check out these two. It's Flirt City over here.
Yeah, I noticed that. It looks like my human is definitely into your human.
Oh, look! I think she's getting his number.
Nice.
Your human's got some sweet moves.
Takes after his dog. Oh, look, they're doing that thing where they put their arms around each other.
She kicked up a leg. It's like in the movies.
That's awesome. Looks like we're going to be hanging out a little bit more.
Welcome back. What are the Bears doing at the quarterback position? And spring training is in full throttle. We'll send it to the Sports Hub with Scott Nickel.
Welcome to the Sports Hub. I'm Scott Nickel. Let's begin on the ice as the Chicago Blackhawks are back in action tomorrow as they are looking to extend their season-high 7-game winning streak when they host the Anaheim Ducks at the UC. Both teams are coming off victories against the Nashville Predators, with the Hawks defeating their division rivals 5-3 on Saturday. Patrick Kane scored 2 goals, and Captain Sirius added a goal and assist to secure the victory for the Hawks. The Ducks come in with a 5-5 record in their past 10 games, while the Hawks are 9-1 and look to extend their winning streak to 8. Moving on to the Chicago Bulls, they will look to get back to their winning ways tonight when they face the lowly Magic in Orlando. The Bulls are coming off an ugly loss to the Detroit Pistons in a game that saw Dwayne Wade sit due to an injured knee. Wade is likely to sit out tonight's game as well, according to NBA.com. Chicago and Detroit were tied headed into the fourth quarter before being outscored 30-16 and losing the game 109-95, and subsequently relinquishing their number 7 seed to the Pistons in the Eastern Conference. Bringing it to the Diamond now, spring training is in full effect and the Cubs bats are taking off exactly where they left off, specifically reigning MVP Chris Bryant, who hit a grand slam for his first spring training home run Saturday. Javi Baez was out there flashing his glove again in the first matchup with Cleveland since the Cubs defeated them in Game 7 of the World Series in November. For the White Sox, Lucas Giolito has looked sharp this spring as he went 2 innings against the Cubs' regular lineup that included Anthony Rizzo, Chris Bryant, and Addison Russell. He gave a monstrous home run to Russell and hits to Kyle Schwarber and Bryant, but also struck out 2 in 2 innings pitched. However, highly touted prospect Yoan Moncada has struggled a bit this spring as he is just 3 for 17 with a triple and a walk and figures to open up the season in AAA. The deal is all but done for quarterback Mike Glennon going to the Chicago Bears, according to NFL insider Ian Rappaport. The deal is estimated to be worth in the area of 3 years, $45 million for a team that is desperate for a quarterback, as Jay Cutler appears to be on his way out the door, according to Rappaport. Glennon, who would be the 23rd highest paid quarterback in the NFL, is a career-high 59% passer and has only thrown 11 passes in the past 2 seasons. Before that, he started in 18 career games in 2013 and 14 with 4,100 yards, 30 touchdowns, and 15 interceptions. This is a questionable pickup at best for the Bears, who are also rumored to be interested in former Pro Bowl corner Stephon Gilmore. The NFL Combine was up and running in Indy as NFL hopefuls try to make a lasting impression on scouts. Among those players is NIU wide receiver Kenny Galladay, whose draft stock rose at the combine. He ran a 4.5 40 and displayed good hands in the gauntlet drill. He also showed great presence in his route running and showed teams why they should take a chance on him. Other big-time performances at the combine include consensus #1 overall pick Myles Garrett, who was a freak of nature, breaking Odell Beckham's vertical jump record, and wide receiver John Ross, who broke Chris Johnson's 40 record with a 4.22. And that's all for the Sports Hub. Let's send it back to Emmett and Ricardo at the desk.
Thank you, Scott. Top Shelf Sports is produced and directed by students here at NIU. For more on the Top Shelf Sports, look us up and like us on Facebook, and you can also check us out on Twitter at TopShelfNIU.
We want to thank you all for being with us. And as always,
Go Huskies!